Pleased to be joined by the head coach of the Ottawa Senators, former coach of the Oshawa Generals, DJ Smith. As DJ, we're taking a look back at the Memorial Cup from 2015, and a very good memory for you. Before we begin, I want to ask you, in your hockey life, have you ever had this much time off?
Never. No, probably, yeah. From the time I was a baby to 4, that was about it. But no, and I don't enjoy it either.
Now, how have you been keeping yourself busy throughout this time? I know as an NHL head coach, you've got lots of work ahead of you. Have you been working on that? Have you been trying to take some time for yourself to recharge? You know, this is a great opportunity for you. You really step into it. So where are you now, and what have you been doing?
Well, to be honest, I think anyone that knows me knows I don't need much of a recharge. I got plenty of energy, and I don't feel I'll run out. But, my wife's expecting here August 24th. So, that's taken a little bit of time. We bought a CrossFit gym, just at the start of COVID to help a guy out here locally. So we've been doing a little bit of that. But we've got plenty of projects and what have you going on. But nothing that beats going to the rink every day.
I bet. Let's take a look back at your time in the Ontario Hockey League. You make the move from Windsor to join the Oshawa Generals. Taking that step, an easy decision or a tough decision to step away from an organization you've been with for so long?
You know what? It was tough, going, leaving home, leaving everybody behind. And I was a diehard Spitfire. I mean, I played there. I was a captain there. I never had the success as a player, but then very fortunate, to coach great players like Taylor Hall, Adam Henrique, Ellis, Fowler, Kazian, Nemish. I'm still missing a bunch, but very fortunate to be able to be a part of those teams, especially being good friends with Bob Bugner and Warren Reichel. And, we were a whole. We did everything as one. From the time we got up to the time we went to bed, 12 months a year, and we found a way to win 2 championships. But also Rocco Tullio, the owner of the Oshawa Generals, is a local guy here, who I've known my whole life, and it was a person that I entrusted, and I used to kind of bug him all the time. I used to say to Rock, "You sick of losing yet?" And Rock would just kind of laugh. And then Jeff Toohey was hired, and Jeff brought me in. And the rest is history.
So you make the move to Oshawa. You step into an organization with great history. What did you try to establish right away?
Well, probably I think everywhere I go, I try and establish work ethic, a commitment to team first. And I had to take care of my younger guys. Michael Del Cole and these guys were young guys that I knew in 3 years would be the guys that would make or break it for me as a coach. And I right away into Michael. It's not like I gifted it to him. He was definitely good enough, but put him with Boone Jenner right away. And I tried to, the following year, I really gave Cole Castles a lot of important minutes. And along the way, we made some great trades. We picked up Hunter Smith. Made sure we developed Josh Brown, Kenny Appleby, and always in the back of my mind, I knew I'd be judged on how I did in year 3. So, and to the players' credit, to a man, how hard they worked in practice every day, everything they gave to each other. Certainly I gave them the game plan to start with, but then they really followed it and believed in it. And I can say confidently now that, we were, the hardest working team in the CHL, and we got rewarded for it.
42 wins your first season, 42 wins the second season. Going into season 3, did you know you had something special? You were ready to take that step?
Yes, for sure. When we overachieved in year 2, and we got swept in the semifinals to North Bay, and it was the best thing that ever happened to us. And we learned that we weren't big enough, we weren't strong enough, we weren't committed enough to conditioning to win. And unfortunately, some players weren't with us, and we made trades, and we made some good trades to get bigger, to get stronger, to make sure we were ready. And when we went back at it, that final year. When the guys left that summer, I remember telling them, when you come back next year, when we go into every rink, we expect to win every single night. And I know a lot of teams kind of counted us out, being, McDavid was in the West, and Sault Ste. Marie was tearing it up as well. We just kind of did our thing wire to wire and made sure, we were the best defensive team in the league by a long shot. And quietly we scored a ton of goals. And I don't think we got enough credit for those, Michael Del Cole and Lindbergh and these guys. We scored a ton of goals as well. And when we were ready, when we went into that playoffs the following year, we were as ready as anyone in the CHL.
Was there a pivotal moment, you think, in that season? Was there a pickup that you thought really put you over the top and just solidified what you wanted to do?
You know what? It probably the year before, I really learned I probably overcoached them down the stretch. And we had made all these trades. So, we were the first place team in the league at the time. And we brought in 5 guys: Michael McCarron, Mermis, Mistely, Peterson. Who am I missing here? I'm missing one more guy. But we brought in these big pieces. And what happened, we went 5-5 in the first 10 games. And there was a lot of panic as to, did we ruin our team? And it was the best thing that happened, because then people slotted into where they belonged. People come from being stars on other teams, and then they think they're going to be the star on that team. And going 5-5, we were the best team in the league without bringing anyone in. And those players were forced to kind of slide into their roles. Michael McCarron was a huge part for us. His competitiveness in the playoffs was unbelievable. Dakota Mermis probably the most undercover. The way he defended and played mean throughout the playoffs, him and Josh Brown from round 2 on pretty well gave you nothing. McDavid, Draisaitl, and these guys went with him every night. But it's just the way they came together. Our group was so good. We didn't have egos, and they allowed these guys in. And by the time that playoff started, we were one again. It was like those guys had been there since day one, and they joined the journey that we knew we had to finish.
You get into the playoffs, and of course, all eyes were on a guy in Erie, Connor McDavid, and what he could do for the Erie Otters. You got them in the OHL final and handled him so very well. What was the game plan that you put into effect? Was it, don't forget about him, let's double team him, or let's just do our work and get the job done?
Well, I'd like to lie and say let's just go about our business, but we are well aware that he's the best player in the world. And I had watched countless games of his, and really it took all 5 guys on the ice at all times to be aware. He's the greatest transition player maybe ever to play in the OHL. So we couldn't afford to throw garbage shots on net, let him pick him up on the run. We had to make sure he stopped in D-zone. So I had to ask our guys pretty well to give up a lot of offense. Even though you think you got an opportunity, you got to be careful. If you take a bad shot, it goes the other way, it's in the back of the net. So what we really tried to do is keep 5 guys above them the whole game. And that's hard to ask junior players to do, is to give up their stats, to give up, their skill set to shut down one guy. And to a man, whether we were on the road or home, it was really about an 8-man rotation of guys that, stayed above him, bumped into him, made it hard on him, didn't let him get to the net. And as good as he is, in hockey is a sport where it's almost impossible to do it yourself. We seen last night, he took it end to end again. And he did it to us a couple times, but he's going to do it. Let's just forget about it. And, if he doesn't do it more than twice a game, we got a chance to win. And, to our credit, Ken Appleby made the saves he had to make. We limited him, and we found ways to score.
That was quite a building too. When it was all over, the celebration by your Oshawa fans was remarkable. Then you have to take that next step. The fact that you had to play so defensively against the Erie Otters and McDavid, did that set you up, you think, for the way you were going to have to play in the Memorial Cup in Quebec City?
For sure it did, and I'd be remiss if I didn't give the credit a little bit to Stan Butler in North Bay. Playing North Bay in the semifinals sets you up for a series like that. You're playing inch by inch against Stan. He gives you nothing. The year before he had swept us. It took us 6 to get him out of there, and it had us ready for that series. Had we played someone that didn't force us to play that kind of defense, maybe it's a different series, but North Bay made us play the right way, and it set us up. And then when you have success, it's easy for your players to accept it and say, this is what we have to do to win. And we went to Quebec. I thought we played very good, wire to wire. I thought our worst game was probably our final game, but our goalie was there to steal it for us.
So you go to Quebec City, fairly historic because it was the last major event at the Colisée. Did you have any history at the Colisée going into that as a player, or maybe as at the midget tournament or the Pee Wee tournament?
Actually, I did. You know what? Best tournament of my life, the Pee Wee tournament. We stayed in dorms with the Windsor Club 240 at the time. It was unbelievable. We got knocked out by Surrey, BC, I think in the third round. I remember it like it was yesterday. And then I had the opportunity to play in the American League against the Citadels plenty of times. So, but to go there when it's sold out and you're playing against Quebec, it was a great thing, and it was a great thing for our players.
Interesting too. All four teams who were at the tournament had won the Memorial Cup before, so they'd been through the situation. The franchises knew how important it was. You get into that situation and you start off, and everybody to a man on your team talked about your work ethic and that you were a blue collar team and you're willing to grind it out. Well, you went through the round robin, winning each game by a single goal. You had to grind everything out, including an overtime win against Quebec. But it just seemed like your guys just bought into it, said, yeah, let's roll. Let's just do what we have to do. As you said, maybe sacrifice some stats just to get the job done.
Well, definitely. I mean, to win a Memorial Cup or any championship, there's great players that have to take a backseat role to someone else. And for example, Matt Nistoli, is probably one of the better trades. I knew that he'd played great under Vellucci in Plymouth, had a little bit of a lull where he was at the time. And he came over and he fit in unbelievable. And he scored some huge goals for us. It allowed us to get some better matchups when you got guys that can score up and down the lineup. Lindbergh, Stephen DeRoche had a heck of a Memorial Cup. But what had happened is everyone bought in. And, in order to do that, you have some guys that could play 20 minutes a game on other teams that are now playing 8 and 10. And watching Michael Dalcole and Castles and Hunter Smith and these guys play all the minutes, McCarron, Sorelli, and it takes a special person to do it. Not everyone can just sit there and root someone else on. And I can't thank the players enough for giving all they gave to me and the organization and the town. But I truly believe we played like the town of Oshawa, the city of Oshawa. Those people are hardworking. They get up, they go to work, they do it honestly. And I think we mimicked exactly that.
It's interesting. I was just taking a look at some of the rosters. I don't think you've seen a quality of Memorial Cup like that. When you look at the names that were there, Kelowna had a guy named Draisaitl, who's had a pretty good pro career. Josh Morrissey, you had Merkley in there. Adam Ernie was on Quebec. You had Foucault was there in goal. Anthony Duclair, Ryan Graves. You just went through the list of players and the quality of players too. I guess that's a testament to what the Memorial Cup does. The best have to be the best to get to the final stage. It
really is. I mean, and not just that. I mean, being in 2 Memorial Cups in Windsor, Jamie Benn, and some of the names that were at those cups. I mean, Myers, like some of these guys are the best players in the world. And I think the advantage we had is I had some players that really had a chip on their shoulder that didn't feel maybe that they were given the proper credit, or they felt like they were, the limelight was maybe given as more star players. And Dakota Mermis and Josh Brown, for exactly those two. I mean, the job they did on McDavid and the job they did on Draisaitl is incredible. And, Mermis has gone on and played games in the NHL. Josh Brown looks like he's solidified himself now as a guy. And they weren't, quite talked about at that time. But these guys were imperative, and they give you no inch. And they stayed on you all night. And these are guys that I'll forever thank.
You went 3-0 in the round robin, and you knew you were ticketed to the final. You had 4 days off before the championship game. Difficult, or because you'd had experience at Memorial Cups? Now, you went the long way in 2009. We know that. Was it easier for you to keep your guys motivated? Was it a good thing or a bad thing to have that much time off before the final?
I've done it both ways. I mean, in Windsor, we took it the long way, and then also in Windsor, we had the break. And I did exactly what we did in Windsor. We gave the guys a full day to themselves to do what they wanted in the town. Their parents are in town. Forget about hockey. Then we had a 3-on-3 tournament that we had the exact same thing in Windsor from the blue line in, and I set up the Bristol board for all the guys, and the coaches played. Then we had a couple of practices, and away we went. So, why mess with success? What we did in Windsor, we came out and played, an unbelievable game against Brandon in the final. We didn't come out and quite play the same, but in saying that, Kelowna was one heck of a team, and Dan Lambert did a great job. He made a couple adjustments on his breakouts, and but at the end of the day, I knew for us to win, Ken Appleby was going to have to be our best player, and that day he was.
So you go into the final. You'd beaten Kelowna 2-1. That was your last game of the round robin. Did you have any magical words of wisdom? Did you give them an impassioned speech before they took the ice for that final game?
You know what? It's funny that, a lot of teams going into the playoffs always have playoff shirts and what have you. And every team's different. And I asked the guys going into the playoffs, what do you guys want on the shirt? And they didn't get back to me. And then I asked them again, and they didn't get back to me. So we didn't do shirts. And we're probably the only team maybe ever to win the Memorial Cup with no shirts, no nothing. And our group was they just knew what they were. They didn't have to be called something. And so I kind of came up with it, and I said our vision is our reality. So I kind of made them envision right from round one against Peterborough, winning the Memorial Cup. And every round we did it again, and we got closer and closer and closer. So all I did really is remind them, close your eyes, and we're here. And I didn't think we played great. After one, and Eric Wellwood, I said, well, what do I do? I know what I usually do, when we play like this. I go in and I shake the group up a bit, right? And he said, well, you're in the Memorial Cup. And I said, you know what? If I would do it in game 45, I'm going to do it now because that's what they expect. And, I just thought we got froze by the moment for a minute. And after that, we got playing. I mean, Sorelli found a way to score, and then we got playing the way we play. But Ken Appleby deserves all the credit in that game. I mean, the players certainly helped him and did a lot of things along the way, and that's why you call it a team. But Kenny carried us that night, and he got us to where we are today.
Well, you mentioned his name, Anthony Sorelli. What a story that is. It's a walk-on for you. Did you notice something special in training camp when he suited up for you?
You know what? I got to give the credit to Eric Wellwood. Eric Wellwood said right away, he was slated to play in Mississauga Chargers Tier 2. We were going to sign him to like an A-B card kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And Eric Wellwood said right away, this guy can play. He can really play. I think he reminded of himself, the way he just worked. And, so he ended up making our team, and he just got better and better. And then, the first week we keep ice time, and I didn't have him playing very much, and just every time I would do the chances, we would keep tally of chances for and against. He was always at the top for minutes played, and we just played him more. I don't think the kid said a word or complained once the entire season, and he just went to work. And what he ended up, right now he's the best player of the whole group at this point. There's still plenty to prove for a lot of guys on that team, but it's an example of a guy not being drafted in the OHL, coming in, didn't hang his head, just went to work. And, this kid's got something special. He never stops working. He doesn't freeze in the moment. I know he won the OHL winning goal in Erie as well. He's a special kid. His parents are great people, and they were so thankful for the opportunity, let alone, little did they know how thankful I was that their son was the one that, spurred it on and gave me my opportunity to move on to the pros.
You get to the third period, and Hunter Smith scores with 2 minutes left. Did you know right away, or did you go, uh-oh, this is big trouble?
Well, I knew it wasn't in because he came back and told me it wasn't in. I said, you've got to play a little coy. I mean, a lot of times they look at, the people check and look how the player reacts. So I knew it wasn't in. And but it was that close, and the feeling, we had closed out so many one-goal games. You give us a one-goal lead with 2 minutes to go, we were as good as anyone at closing it out. And, it would have been great right then and there, but the way it ended, you can't write it any better than that.
You go into the overtime. Now you've got that to worry about. Did you just tell the guys you got this far, you've played well, just continue to do what you're doing? And then, of course, it was your little hero who did it again.
You know what? It's strange. I had a dream in like November of that year that Chris Carlisle got the winner. And going into overtime, I just told the guys, there's no doubt now we're going to win. And I, I'm a pretty humorous guy, I think people would say anyways. And I said, when we score, make sure you jump with your right leg first. You don't want to cut the other guy's pants. So the guys kind of laughed. Carlisle come down and Lindbergh pulled up, and I saw it in Carlisle's hands. It was like I envisioned, like he didn't end up scoring, but it was off his stick, and Sorelli banged it in, and it all went so quick. And the funny story is behind it, Brian Boyce, the legendary trainer in Oshawa, had no one had known at the time, needed a valve replacement on his heart, but didn't want to miss this. And he didn't look great on the bench. I mean, the stress of the whole thing. And as soon as we won, I said to one of the other guys, someone get Cheto. That we call him Cheto. I said, someone get Cheto. He looks like he's in rough shape. So we made sure Cheto got sorted out. Then I jumped out with the boys.
That was quite a celebration too. What did it mean to you to take that trip with that team after having the success? You'd been there. You've lifted the cup in victory, but now here it was your team that you were the head coach of. What did that mean in that celebration on the ice?
You know what? I wanted them to experience so much what I had the opportunity to experience. I mean, I didn't win as a player. And that's something, when you're a winner, people talk about you like you're a winner for life. And I was lucky enough in Windsor to be a part of those teams and be a winner. Now I'm the head coach. But I truly, I push those guys every day really hard because I truly wanted them to experience it. And I wasn't in a hurry to get the cup over my head. I wanted them, the guys that had given me everything they had, to be the first guys to get it over their head. Can't thank Michael Del Cole, Hunter Smith, Cole Castles, Josh Brown, Carlisle. These are the guys that were with me right from the get-go, Appleby, and put up with the hard practices and the skating and the leaning on them between periods and all the things that they had put up with. It was great to see them win and enjoy it with each other.
They'll always be remembered as champions, and you said that's something special. When you had a chance to say goodbye to them at the end of the season, when the parade was done and you were there, what did you want them to leave with? When they finally left as a group, the celebrations had been done. They knew they were going home. Did you try to leave them with anything before you sent them all home?
You know what? It happens so fast, and you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, we all want to move on. I mean, players realize I wanted to get to the NHL. They want to get to the NHL. All I know is when you win a championship with someone, you feel you have a part of them for the rest of your life. And, any opportunity I've had to ever help one of those guys out, if I could, bring them in, I certainly would. Or if I can help them get somewhere, I certainly would. And, we had an opportunity last year. They had a golf tournament. I had a quick little talk with them, and I thanked them. I don't think they realize when they get older, they're going to realize just how much they helped my career. And what they did for me. I think a lot of coaches want to take so much credit, but the players, I've always done it for, as a player, I felt that I wanted to be treated a certain way and have a coach maybe have my back. And as they get, when they get older and they get into coaching, they're going to realize just probably how much they actually did for my career.
Well, you certainly leave a legacy in the Ontario Hockey League as you take your next step in the National Hockey League. It was a memorable Memorial Cup. There were 4 terrific teams, and hard work paid off. DJ, good luck to you going forward with the Ottawa Senators. I know you don't like having this kind of time off. Best of luck with the impending arrival, and we appreciate you taking this time with us.
You know what, Faulds, I appreciate it, but I got to say one more thing. I didn't name 2 guys that were integral parts of that team in Aiden Wallace and Brad Latour. These are guys that didn't get the credit, that did it every single day. And I would feel bad if this ended and they didn't know that how much I appreciated what they did for our group and the work ethic and the commitment to our group. So I appreciate it, but I wanted to make sure that those 2 guys knew that I appreciated everything they did as well.
That's a great mark of a great coach, acknowledging everybody's efforts. Again, DJ, thanks so much, and you take care.
Thanks, Faulty.